Welcome back. You're watching Namaste Obama. Ahead of Obama's trip, how our expectations are filtering in and whether or not these are great expectations for no reason. Now, we're going to debate this with my entire panel. But before I get down to all of them once again, I'm going to put out the view coming in from the U.S. just ahead of that visit from Gary Locke.
Big aspirations and dreams of the people and government of India. We think that U.S. companies can help India achieve those objectives, to raise the standard of living for its people, and at the same time have U.S. companies help fulfill those objectives, meet those objectives, and create jobs for the people here at home.
Thomas Friedman, to start the segment with you, how can things really change here on, and can governments play a role when it comes to facilitating business?
Well, I think definitely anything we can do to take the sand out of the gears in the relationship, lowering walls of protection, deregulating things that are really based on outdated concepts and regulation. I think anything that can get the flow between India and the United States commercially, culturally, technologically more uninhibited, that will be a good thing.
That would be indeed a good thing, and FDI is one thing that's been quite a worry on the wheel. We've got the retail story that's still to unfold, and we've had Walmart's Mike Duke rally ahead of that, hoping that things will move with Obama in town. Mr. Kamal Nath, is there something we can do on the retail front this time?
Well, I don't think anything is a closed chapter. There's always the fear of the unknown in India. And while I was Commerce Minister, I had said that even when there's a question, I had allowed where it's an Indian control with foreign investment company, we would allow that. And I think milestone by milestone we have moved forward, and we'll continue to move forward in this.
Right. I know you're being very cautious while you say that, but let me ask you this. Now that Obama is here, could we use this as an opportune moment to open a window on the subject, more than we've ever done before?
Well, I don't know. I really think if the proper studies have been made, this may be an opportune time, but if something more needs to be studied, we would have to study it, and then the government will take an appropriate decision.
Ron Somers, how gung-ho is the USIBC and all CEOs coming from America on the retail subject?
Well, we just saw the CEO of Walmart, Mike Duke, in India pressing for the multi-brand retail opening that we all hope for. India is #1 in the world in milk production. It's #2 in the world in fruit and vegetable production. Yet because of inefficiencies in India's farm-to-market supply chain, as much as 40% of that harvest spoils before it reaches market. Adding efficiencies and productivity and technology and infrastructure to that supply chain is going to help stem that loss and stem the waste that's occurring in the farm-to-market supply chain. The opening of the multi-brand retail sector will be a tremendous fillip to that, add efficiencies, productivity, technology, and infrastructure. And therefore, we're very hopeful that India will be moving in the direction of opening multi-brand retail to organized players.
What about power, Gautam? How can the two countries collaborate for power infrastructure? Again, a space that you're present in.
Well, I think in the US, both the grids, the US grid and the Indian grid, are actually very similar in structure. We are doing a lot of work there with CG in the area of smart grid, and we've signed a few research projects, and we're doing stuff like that. So I think that's one interest. We've just almost finished signing a number of contracts. One I know for sure on solar power development, where CG has provided the transmission distribution solution. I think those are the learnings that ultimately will come here. We have put out a solar policy. We still have to see how effective that is and whether that actually results in the kind of numbers that and investment that is being talked about. But overall, our experience in the US is definitely a big help, both in solar and in wind, is a big help out here.
Interesting that you say that, because Ron Somers was just hinting at a green fund in that direction. Ron Somers, to come to you, the shale gas deal. Now, India is doing a lot through Reliance Industries and shale gas. What do you think could potentially be a technological exchange story, and will that happen this time?
Well, we've just seen the headline news of India's largest private sector company, Reliance, buying a very large stake in Pennsylvania's Atlas Energy for $1.6 billion. And by the way, this is a new trend of Indian global companies now buying major stakes in American companies. That's a very welcome investment in this economic climate. But those technologies, shale gas extraction technologies, are really what we do well here in the United States. We're on the cutting edge of it. To share that technology now with India, particularly in this joint venture with Reliance, is going to enable us to unlock clean energy supplies that will reduce carbon footprint and enable India to achieve energy security. Again, a win-win for both sides.
Win-win for both sides. Mr. Kamal Nath, from the government standpoint, does a free trade agreement make sense, or are we sort of going through enough in terms of trade irrespective of that agreement? Because we will never get down to being on consensus when it comes to agriculture or some of these controversial issues.
Well, one has to see what the free trade agreement encompasses. This word free trade agreement, there's nothing free in trade, but it's really an economic partnership agreement, and it depends on what you want to encompass. When you look at agriculture, of course, we cannot look at subsidized products from the US, but there are many other areas where I think it's a win-win situation having an agreement.
All right, we've got a lot more subjects to discuss. The China factor, the currency wars, how will all of that play out, and will Obama have some answering to do there? Stay with us, back in a moment.